John Lynch out here cooking today. Let's go. The San Francisco 49ers have made multiple moves, trades, restructurings, some signings. Ooh, John Lynch. John Lynch said, just wait. Just wait until day 3. Now, we were warned about this. Another Michael Silver W. He said, be patient, young grasshopper. Be patient throughout this whole period. He told us at the beginning of free agency. He told us that Eric Armstead was likely going to be a cap casualty. He also told us that the 49ers would likely sign a cost-effective edge rusher. All the things have come true. The redemption arc for Mike Silver has been phenomenal. But regardless of that, the San Francisco 49ers making good moves. There is a method to all the madness that we are seeing right now. Uh-oh. What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? Oh, okay. So breaking news from Adam Schefter, 8-time Pro Bowl defensive end and former NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Khalil Mack, will remain in Los Angeles with the Chargers this season and free up salary cap space for the team by agreeing to a restructure right after they released Mike Williams. So the reason why that's pertinent is because the San Francisco 49ers have been definitely what seems like flirting with the idea of bringing in Joey Bosa. So the fact that Khalil Mack is back might mean that Joey Bosa could be on the outs. We will have to see and monitor how that situation goes. But oh boy, we got lots of stuff to talk about right now. And hey, news is dropping as we speak. So if something drops, 49ers related, I'm going to hop off real quick. We're going to get the content out. Might hop right back on. Fair warning. But let's talk about all the different things that the 49ers have been cooking up this morning. You guys already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat. Smash that like button. Let's freaking go. Let John Lynch cook. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. What is good, everybody? As we go live, we are going live on Instagram. We are going live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and the good old-fashioned Twitter machine because I refuse to call it X. Let's go. We are going to recap. It's not even noon on the West Coast, and the San Francisco 49ers have been making a bunch of moves. So we're going to react. We are going to talk about all the things that John Lynch is out here cooking up. First of all, great to see you all, SDS. Shout out the Sourdough Squad. I would say today's a good day. I know a lot of people have been kind of hemming and hawing about, oh, the 49ers aren't doing anything. Oh, they're not signing the big names. Oh, all this, all that. I get it. But we were told, be patient, be patient. Some things may come to fruition. And that is exactly what has happened. First of all, let's start with the latest news because it's my favorite news. Let's talk about Kyle Juszczyk returning to the San Francisco 49ers. Let's freaking go. I'm not going to lie. I was concerned about Kyle Juszczyk and his future with the San Francisco 49ers. We heard the reports after Eric Armstead was reported to be released, and that's a whole nother topic that we will also talk about as well. But it was reported after that the 49ers also approached Kyle Juszczyk about a restructure or a potential pay cut. And so we were on alert of the 49ers potentially moving off Kyle Juszczyk as well. And we found out today, per Adam Schefter, Kyle Juszczyk has restructured his contract, freeing up approximately $1.75 million in cap space. Shout out, Juice. Remains the highest paid fullback in the NFL, deserved, and will remain on the San Francisco 49ers at least for one more year. And as a Juice stan, in regards to what he does in the 49ers offense, I'm thrilled. Absolutely thrilled that Juice is coming back. And hey, I get it. I understand some of the conversations that a lot of people were having around Kyle Juszczyk potentially either having to restructure or people talking about him as a cut candidate. They would point to his lack of usage, decreasing over the last 4 years, those types of things. Juice is still Juice, man. Still an elite fullback. And this is where I would say, hey, you want to get more Juice snaps? Well, the 49ers, unfortunately, and shout out to Charlie Warner. Charlie Warner, one of the low-key, dopest signings of free agency. My guy turned 11 receptions over 4 seasons into 12 milli. I think he got upwards of like 8 million guaranteed. So shout out Charlie Warner. He got the bag, and we know why he got the bag, because he is a great blocker. So, hey, if we got questions at tight end 2, we don't know who's going to come in and be able to run 2 tights with Kittle, and you're going away from using, fullback formations, kind of the old school style, throw him out there at tight end 2. Let's go. Kyle is a utility knife. Use him how you see fit. And I think Kyle Shanahan will find a way to use him. And that's why the 49ers run game has been so effective with the tight end, is because Kyle Juszczyk is that guy. So I'm very excited about that. Very, very excited about that. I'm going to jump around here because we're having all kinds of news flying at us right now. And so as we were getting on here, the big thing that we are kind of watching right now is we are watching the Los Angeles Chargers. We're watching what they're doing, because there has been a lot of smoke kind of connecting the 49ers to Joey Bosa and or Khalil Mack. Well, just as we were hopping on here, we found out that Khalil Mack got restructured, Mike Williams got released, and no news on Joey Bosa. So the way that I'm currently looking at the Chargers situation is that I believe they just told us that they value Khalil Mack a little bit more than Joey Bosa right now. So I'm not sure what the future holds for Joey Bosa, but it could be very similar to what just happened to Mike Williams. So I would imagine they're trying to trade him, but with the injury history and the contract, that just might be too difficult. And if that is the case, and the Chargers release Joey Bosa, Big Bear into the wild, if they let Big Bear into the wild, Where do you think Big Bear is going to go? Where do you think Big Bear will wander to? He's going to go look for the smaller bear. Well, where's the smaller bear? The smaller bear is located in Northern California. Not that far of a trip. Not that far of a trip. He can find his way up. So it's just something to monitor, something to watch out for. And I've already seen some reports that have linked mutual interest between Joey Bosa and the 49ers. And they talked about that he would be willing to obviously work on the contract in order to make it work. What Joey Bosa is getting paid right now doesn't make sense for the 49ers. But if he's released and the 49ers can slide in a new contract, maybe incentive based, there's something there. There's something there. So that's something that we are going to keep an eye on. We're going to keep an eye on it. We don't know for sure if it's going to happen, but we're going to keep an eye on it. So things are happening right about now. I think one of the next things, I'm going to get into Eric Armstead in a second. I'm going to get to Eric Armstead in a second. Let's talk about the trade. San Francisco 49ers have traded for defensive tackle Malik Collins. This is an underrated move in the sense of what the 49ers gave up for Malik Collins. He's a 28-year-old defensive tackle who's been a starter for the Texans for the most part. He was actually fresh off of inking a 2-year, $23 million extension with $20 million guaranteed just last year with the Texans. That money tells you, and he had 1 year left on that deal, and the Texans said, "You know what, pal? We are going to throw you 2 years, $23 million and $20 million guaranteed." Well, we do know that the Texans have been making moves hand over fist. They just signed Danielle Hunter. They just gave him like 49 million guaranteed. And hold on. And all that good stuff. So we have some news in regards to the San Francisco 49ers. Nothing earth-shattering, but the Bears are signing former 49ers offensive lineman Matt Pryor to a 1-year deal. Matt Pryor was the 49ers' right swing tackle. Last year was an interesting year because they had 2 swing tackles. That's typically not the case. Typically, your swing tackle can play left and right. But with the 49ers last year, they felt comfortable with Jalen Moore at left tackle and Matt Pryor at right. And it was the most offensive lineman that I've ever seen the 49ers keep. So that was an interesting element. But Pryor is on to the Bears. Honestly, that's fine with me. I think the 49ers could upgrade the swing tackle position via the draft. So it's fine. Just wanted to alert you guys of that particular news that just came down. So what were we talking about? We're talking about Malik Collins. So Malik Collins, in 2 seasons with the Texans, had 66 tackles, 18 tackles for a loss, 6 sacks, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, and 5 fumble recoveries over a 30-game span. One of his key elements that Malik Collins brings to a defense is run stuffing ability. We're starting to see a theme here. We are starting to see a theme. The San Francisco 49ers just got 2 run stuffing defensive tackles. That's where they have made their value as being run stuffers. Obviously, when you look at where the 49ers struggled a little bit on the interior, it was stopping the run. So you're starting to see the trend. Also, too, with Yetur Gross Matos, I would say he is an upgrade over Cleveland Farrell. And I thought Cleveland was phenomenal with the San Francisco 49ers at specifically setting the edge in the run game. So the 49ers, I think they leveled up with Yetur, and they've got now 2 run stuffing defensive tackles. Malik Collins is, I would say, the better tackle out of the other signing of Jordan Elliott. So I like where we're headed. I like what I'm seeing it. I'm starting to see it come together now. I'm starting to see the bigger picture. And so with the defensive line moves now, and you've got, of course, the 49ers their so far their biggest signing has been Leonard Floyd, who is a pass rush specialist, in my opinion. And what he's brought in to do is rush the passer. That's his job. Rush the passer, go get the quarterback. That's it. Obviously getting up there in age, but I would say he's still got that twitch. He's still got that length. He's still got that first step get off that can collapse the pocket from the outside. I'm all for that. So I'm liking it. I'm obviously it started off with a shock to the system with the situation regarding Eric Armstead, which again we will talk to, and we'll talk about that in coming up. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. Again, nothing from a like flash standpoint, like ooh, huge signing, one of those big crazy names, which I'm not ruling out just yet. But I think the 49ers have been making solid, quality, cost-effective moves, and I'm liking the direction. Again, quality, cost-effective. Quality, cost-effective. Combine those two, the 49ers are trying to build a sustained winner, and I think that this is also setting them up to be able to make a move if they want, to be able to extend Brandon Ayuk, to be able to do the things they need to do to also continue to try to improve this roster. So I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. Justin says, Brad, do the defensive tackle additions rule out a first round defensive tackle? Oh, my guy, Johnny Newton is 6'2", 295 as well as great against the run. No, I do not think that these necessarily rule out a first round defensive tackle. If there's anything that we have learned over multiple years of covering the trends of the San Francisco 49ers, is they love defensive tackles and they love defensive linemen. I don't know why it's a shock at all to anyone that the San Francisco 49ers have gone after pretty much only defensive linemen. We should have been able to see this from 4,000 miles away, that this is what was going to happen. I tried to warn people. I tried to let them know. They just yelled at me that we needed offensive line and more offensive line, and no defensive tackles, offensive line. Well, what did the 49ers do, people? 4 defensive linemen. All defense. We haven't even got to the move that they made this morning. We're going to talk about Eric Kendricks in a second. I freaking love that signing. All defensive line. Don't act so surprised. If you have foresight and you have a true ability to understand the trends of the San Francisco 49ers, this should not have been a surprise at all to you. But hey, I digress. I guess that's why I'm here. To let you guys know the real. Love you guys. You're the best. Corey says, I'm most excited for Gross Matos edition. Honestly, I knew who Gross Matos was after scouting him. And again, I've been in this mode of finding speed rushers, finding guys that are going to really be twitched up off the edge because I want that speed rusher. So when I first saw the signing, I was like, that's not a speed rusher. Like he's quality rusher. He doesn't have that gear, that final gear to get you around the edge. Although he's got moves, he can do it. He's got good first step, get off, all those different types of things. But he didn't have that gear that I'm looking for in my elite edge rushers. However, once I started looking at his tape more and seeing how he has been utilized with the Carolina Panthers and seeing that, okay, he might not be a prototypical edge rusher, pass rusher off, out of a wide 9. However, I'm seeing him rush off the guard quite a bit. And when you combine that length, the motor, he has a bag of pass rush moves. He's got hands. He's got the hand swipe. He's got the club rip. Like he's got the swim. He's got moves. And you take that length and you put it on guards. Now we might have something. Now I'm like, oh wait, okay, hold on. This is exactly how I felt when I saw that the 49ers traded for Charles Omenihu out from the Texans a couple years ago. Again, he was a defensive end, not twitched up, not a elite gear off the edge. But I was like, first thing I saw from Omenihu, oh, that guy can play in the Arden Key role. That's our Arden Key. First thing, when I started watching Gross Matos, I was like, that's our Charles Omenihu. And he's a little bit more, I would say he might be a little bit more twitched up than Omenihu. And Omenihu's a phenomenal player. He was so good for us, so underrated. And he was phenomenal with the Chiefs last year. So I'm looking at a guy in YGM as a guy who can be a base down edge, kind of like what Cleveland did. And he can knock inside in pass rushing situations, in situations where you're running nickel formations, and he can rush over the guard. So I like it. I agree. I like the YGM move, and also the Panthers have been a dumpster fire. So I'm not even going to judge them too harshly because they have been just god awful. And the biggest fumbling, they fumbled the Brian Burns bag so bad, it's unbelievable. But anyways, Boxing Fan says, give me one realistic big splash trade in free agency signing. Oh, this is right up my alley because I've already been thinking of someone. So the question is on YouTube, appreciate the super chats, says, give me one realistic big splash trade. I've already been cooking this up. I went on 95.7 the game yesterday. Shout out my guy, Evan Steiny. Went on with Steiny and Evan on 95. And he asked me what signing would I like. But this also coincides with a trade as well. Cornerback. I want a starting cornerback. I think if there's anything that we saw last year from that defense. We had a hard time marrying the rush and coverage together. I think that might be one of the reasons why Steve Wilks found himself on the outs. And the 49ers have a really good problem. They have a cornerback one, all pro, Charvarius Ward. He is going to be an outside corner. Diamador Lenore has absolutely grown and developed into one of the top young up-and-coming cornerbacks in this league. And with that, he has the versatility that allows you to do a bunch of different things. He can play nickel or he can play outside. So, with that being said, it gives the 49ers flexibility in how they want to target cornerback. So I'm watching Cleveland's Jordan Elliott, defensive tackle that we signed, 2 years, $10 million. I'm watching him, and I'm like, oh, there's my boy, Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome was a draft crush of mine coming out of Northwestern. I had him highly regarded as one of the better cornerbacks in that draft class. And I'm like, watching Jordan Elliott, and I'm just like, I'm seeing Greg Newsome making some plays. And I'm like, wait a second. Hasn't Greg Newsome been talked about as a potential trade candidate for the Cleveland Browns? Quick Google search. I go to the Cleveland sites. He's like the top trade candidate from the Cleveland's people. They're like, yeah, we have two starting cornerbacks on the outside. We have Martin Emerson. We have Denzel Ward. Unfortunately, Greg Newsome doesn't fit that nickel role in which he's been playing. Again, this is from Cleveland beat reporters. And so I'm like, oh, well, if we're going to go trade for a quarterback or a cornerback, let's go get my guy, Greg Newsome. You could instantly put him on the outside. You could have Diamador Lenore in the nickel. We already know the NFL is running more and more 3 wide, which it puts the emphasis as the nickel package almost being the base package in the NFL now. So then you can have consistently on the field Demo playing in the nickel. He's a dog. He wants to make plays in the run game. Love that. Then you have Charvarius Ward, Greg Newsome on the outside. You have one of the most athletically gifted cornerbacks in Greg Newsome on the outside. Still young. Still on a rookie deal. We're cooking, baby. So to answer your question in a really long-winded, roundabout way, for me, a realistic trade option in free agency is to go out and trade for Greg Newsome because they could potentially be looking to offload Greg Newsome. I don't know if Patrick Surtain is going to get offloaded. Listen, I talked to Patrick Surtain at the Super Bowl. That dude is cool as hell. Couldn't believe how cool he was. I was like, dude, I'm talking to him. I'm like, you're one of the elite cornerbacks in the NFL. You're too cool. Like, you're too chill. Like, just a dude. And I'm like, man, you're awesome. I don't know if Denver be looking to trade him. And if you are looking to trade for Patrick Surtain, you might be paying an arm and a leg. However, when I'm actually talking to like people who cover the Browns, and they're like, give us pick 63. He's yours. I'm like, that's it? You will trade me a former first rounder, Greg Newsome, for pick 63 and not have any problems with that? I was like, sign me up. Let's go. That feels like a realistic potential because it does sound like they don't have a need for Newsome currently in his current role. He's still young. Offload him. 49ers have a need for an outside corner with very quality athletic traits, and he's a dog in the run game. Go get Newsome. Go do it. Go get Newsome. That would be a fire trade, in my opinion, because I actually think it's realistic. And I don't think it would kill you in compensation to go out and get him. So to answer your question in about a 7-minute rant, Greg Newsome is the realistic trade that I have. All right. Let's talk about some additional news that we haven't even talked about yet. So while I was asleep trying to recover from this offseason that got me low-key fried, the 49ers, John Lynch, makes a move. Hey, shout out my guy, showing love for the YouTube page. Appreciate you. The 49ers signed Eric Kendricks to a 1-year deal. Now, we don't know how much the contract is, but I don't imagine it's going to be crazy. Eric Kendricks still got it, man. Over the last 8 seasons in a row, Eric Kendricks has had over 100 tackles. He was second in the team on the Chargers in tackles. I believe he had 117 tackles last year with the Chargers. Captain's patch after he got released from the Minnesota Vikings after becoming an All-Pro with them, Pro Bowler with them. They released him. I think it was a cap savings issue. He goes to the Chargers, links up with who? Brandon Staley, who is now the 49ers' current defensive coach, and balls. You go watch Eric Kendricks on tape, he's still got it. Now, he might not be a young buck in regards to pass coverage, but when it comes to shooting gaps, you can see the instincts. You can see he just sees it. He just feels it. It's still there. So with Eric Kendricks obviously coming in to help kind of backfill for Dre Greenlaw in the injury, that's huge. That's a huge underrated signing. Huge underrated signing. Fits a need. Fits a perfect need for needing a guy to fill in for half a year, 3/4 of a year, potentially just 1 year. But he has the ability to start and be impactful. Did we get the was it $6 million for Kendrick? I didn't see any dollar figures, but I've also been running around like a chicken with my head cut off, so there's a very good chance I missed it. I didn't see that, but I like this move. So the whole point being is we woke up. John Lynch starts off with Eric Kendricks. Great move. I'm seeing in the chat $6 million. If that's what you're paying for Eric Kendricks, even better. Shout out to his brother Michael Kendricks, Cal legend. He didn't want to go the Cal route. He went UCLA. We'll forgive him for that. But you start off today with being able to get a starting linebacker, veteran linebacker, a captain, one of the better linebackers in the league. Yes, he's getting up there in age, but we'll take him. We will take him. And again, interesting correlation with Brandon Staley. We go out, we trade for a starting caliber defensive tackle with a 7th round draft pick. Not bad. Not bad at all. We get Juice back. Kyle Juszczyk, restructured contract, back with the Niners, turn up. Let's go. So now I think what is left for today is we got to figure out what is going on with Eric Armstead. So obviously, we heard he was going to be released before the start of the legal tampering period. Okay. Yeah, it was a little bit shocking to the system to see that. Obviously, the 49ers approached him about a pay cut. They weren't able to come to terms, and they have opted to go in a different direction. Okay. We've come to terms with it. It's now Wednesday. I think, we've said our goodbyes. I appreciate everything that Eric's done for the team. Kind of crazy that that's the way, the cookie crumbled, but it is what it is. So we have to pivot. And so we have to now take those next steps and figure out who's replacing him and what are we doing with Eric. So we've already seen the replacements coming in. We've got 2 defensive tackles, and you can even look at YGM as potentially being a guy who could play that Eric Armstead role in certain situations. So what we're hearing with Eric Armstead, again, it's still being discussed as a release, but I keep hearing, and this is kind of me putting this together. I have yet to really see anyone mention trade. They're still talking release. They're still talking, that he's going to get released. But also on the same token, they're saying a market is starting to develop for Eric Armstead. So I'm like, well, if there's a market and it's tangible to the point where you have reporters saying that the Texans are interested, that the Titans are interested, that the Bengals are interested, that the Lions are interested in him, I'm like, well, are we going to trade him? If you have a market for someone, if a market is developing, meaning teams are interested, couldn't we see a trade happen? And some may say, oh, he's been released. Technically, no, he has not been released. And my example for this thought process has been the Bengals had said, hey, we released Joe Mixon. Okay, interesting move. But they said we released Joe Mixon. The next day, we find out, never mind, he actually was traded. He was traded to the Texans for a 7th round pick. So that stuff happens all the time. And because today the deals don't actually, all these moves that we've been hearing the last 2 days, they don't actually become official until today. Today is the official start to the league year. And so because of that, this is now where all these signings and things start to become official. So technically, Eric Armstead is still around. And if he's still around, is there a world that exists where a market develops enough that you could actually trade him? Now, we get it. He's on a big time contract. That's probably going to be a big sticking point for teams who want to take him on. But what would you prefer? Cutting Eric Armstead, getting nothing, taking a massive cap hit, which again, if you're cutting him pre-June 1st, you're taking on a dead cap hit no matter what. If you're trading him, I think you still might take on that dead cap hit, but at minimum, at least you get something in return. So that's where my thought process is at, is that this feels like a trade might be materializing. That's where I'm at. Again, no one else is saying trade. I'm the only one saying trade. That's just what it feels like to me. That's my read on it. It feels like the 49ers, and this would be a smart business decision, is to get something in return for him. So we'll see if that actually happens, if that actually comes to fruition, if Eric Armstead is indeed traded. it's something to keep an eye on. So we'll see. I don't like the idea because think about it like this. Think about it like this. If Eric Armstead was a free agent at the start of this period, like he was just a flat out free agent and he had the opportunity to sign elsewhere, he would be a top 10, top 15 free agent in this entire class. Someone would be signing him. He would probably be a day one guy who signs, probably gets a big deal. Like he would be at the top of the list of top available free agents in the league. So again, to just cut a guy like that and not get anything in return when there are clearly other teams who would be willing to take a shot on him, take a chance on him when he's healthy. We know how impactful he can be. So that's my read on it, is that I don't believe we've heard officially. I don't think we've heard officially yet that he has been released, because I think they might be trying to have conversations. So that's just my thoughts. That's just how I feel. I see people talking about his injuries being a reason why he won't be traded. You could be right. I could be wrong. That's a part of it. It's just a hypothesis. It's what is this? A hypothesis? I don't even know if that's the right word. Should have stayed in school. Stay in school, kids. So that's just my feeling that I have. So will it come to fruition? No idea. He could just be flat out released. And then the 49ers take a $26 million cap hit. Or if they designate him as a post-June June 1st release, that would then save, I believe, $17.8 million against the cap. So move him to Cleveland for Newsome. Ooh, we're talking now. Listen, if it's not going to work out with Eric, I'd love to keep Eric around, but if it's not going to work out for him, why would you not try to get something for him? Newsome, Eric, handshake emoji, swap jerseys. Why not? I like that. Also, shout out my guy, the X-Niners, man. Bro's got the cleanest 49er swaps in the game, and he's got the speed on top of it. Shout out my guy, and he's dropping fire trade propositions. That is a great one. I like that. Ravens Debo news. No, fill me in. What are we talking about with Ravens Debo? What does that mean? I've heard some crazy rumors. I'm not ready to. I've been sitting on it for a while. I'm not ready to. I think I could make a video on it. I'm not sure. I'm trying to find out more information before I do anything. Ravens tried to get Debo. Okay. Debo Ravens. Okay. So 1057 The Fan is saying, we heard they reached out to SF about Debo's availability. That's a no, at least for now. Interesting. I don't know what that would totally benefit for the Niners to trade him to the Ravens. Interesting, though. That is interesting, but it appears that the 49ers said, nah, we're good. So we'll see. Interesting. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I did not see that. Did not see that at all. I don't know. I feel like something's still gonna go down. I don't know how you guys feel. Feels like something's percolating. Feels like something's bubbling. John Lynch ain't done cooking yet. John Lynch, John Lynch, I don't think he's done cooking yet. We were told to be patient. That's what we were told. So I'm being patient. Being patient. And I think it was Diana Rossini who also said, expect like a third wave. Expect like a third wave of moves. It feels like that's what we got. That's what we got. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So I got one eye on the Twitter machine. Notifications have been working in overtime. I don't know if you guys saw my screen time on Monday. I had over 14 hours logged. Brandon Allen's contract numbers coming out. Signed a $1.5 million deal, 700,000 guaranteed. That's QB3 money. So I wonder if the 49ers have any interest in trying to add another veteran quarterback, because Brandon Allen came back on a value. That's a really strong value. But oh yeah, all kinds of stuff cooking up. So we'll see. We'll see. Trade for Fields. Why would the 49ers trade for Fields? And I love Fields. If you guys don't remember, Fields at 3, baby. Do I have any draft crushes? I'm starting to, and unfortunately, I'm in that category where I'm starting with the top prospects and I'm working through like the top offensive linemen. And of course, my first draft crush is a guy that I don't think the 49ers will even have a shot at getting. They would have to trade up, I think, heavily up. They would have to trade into like pick 12 through 15 to get the guy. And I'm like, damn it. Why do I do this to myself all the time? Why do I do this to myself? Why do I always start like developing like these affinities for prospects that the 49ers have no ability to obtain? Like, damn it. I would love it. He would be phenomenal. He could play tackle, guard, or center. And I think he's going to be elite for sure. But the dream doesn't die. I'll still probably post about him. I'm gonna keep it close to the vest. If you know, you know. But once we get through free agency, we'll start it up. We'll start the draft propaganda machine for sure. But the 49ers went from 11 draft picks to 10. So they have 10 draft picks now, because they traded that 7th around. I saw so many comments. I think I saw one from Justin. Where did it go? Did I see Bleacher Report had Cooper Beebe as their 28th ranked prospect on their board? I did not. Cooper to me feels like he's just going to slide because he doesn't have like the super sexy physical traits. Pause. But that's what happens every year with offensive linemen. If they're perceived to have short arms, if they're perceived to not be super quick or fast, they will tend to fall. So I'm kind of getting the sense that that's kind of how people are looking at Cooper, but he's a dog, so yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all. Bring Hunter Renfrow to San Francisco. Ooh. He could be a slot option. The 49ers are bringing back Juwan from all that we know. So that's what I think is to be expected. I'm still kind of in that mindset. I would love a twitched up slot. Like the guy that I wanted last year was Demario Douglas. That was my guy. Fit that mold perfectly of a smaller guy, but twitched up, can do everything you want, but you could work him on the inside. He's tough. That's who I think he won in the 6th round to the Patriots. That was one of my draft crushes from last year. He turned out to be a really good rookie wide receiver. But that's kind of like, I want to see that. I want to see a little bit of an archetype shift. I want to see an archetype shift towards more twitched up slot guys. I still think there's a need for, your prototypical wide receivers. You just want to keep getting those guys, but I'm looking for some twitch. I'm looking for a little bit of one of those guys, little cookie in a phone booth. I want one of those guys, like just literally give him the ball and he's like a little dash. So Brad wants Lad McConkey. Guarantee you he would have been a Patriot if Bill Belichick was still in town. Good old Lad. Xavier Legette or Jerry Rice Jr. Oh, I would definitely lean a little bit more towards Xavier right now, but I also haven't done a deep dive on either. I've kind of scouted from 10,000 feet. Obviously saw both of them at the combine. Legette is a freak. Like, I've seen a lot of comps to AJ Brown, and honestly, I could see it. I could definitely see it. So, but Jerry Jr. or not Jerry Jr. His other brother, Brendan. He's super cool though. Brendan is cool as hell. Got to talk to him at the combine. He's dope. I think Legette's probably second round. I would say that Brandon is probably 3rd through 5th right now. Again, that could change dramatically based on kind of watching him a little bit more. So admittedly, I'm not like super caught up to speed on his tape or anything, just from high level overview. That's my initial impression, but that could change. That could change pretty quickly, for sure. What do I think about Luke McCaffrey? Luke McCaffrey was one of my biggest surprises of the combine. I feel like it's such a hard place to be for these legacy guys because they're constantly compared to who they're related to. And so, like with Luke, I was like, I didn't watch Luke at Rice. He's a former quarterback. I'm like, he doesn't like look like an imposing wide receiver at all. He looks like kind of like Hunter Renfrow build. And I'm like, all right, like I had a picture of Leggett and McCaffrey right next to each other, and I was like, dude, Leggett makes makes McCaffrey look so small. But McCaffrey probably had one of the cleanest combine workouts out of any prospect in the wide receiver group, and I was like, okay, I'm buying. I'm buying Luke McCaffrey stock before TBD. Just because, again, I wasn't just going to be like, oh, I like Luke McCaffrey. He's Christian's brother. Obviously that's super easy for engagement and stuff like that. But from a scouting perspective, I was like, I don't know. I'm not just going to assume that McCaffrey's like that as a receiver. And then I saw it in person, and I was like, yeah, he is like that. He was one of the smoothest athletes out of all those guys. And I heard that some teams had asked Luke to do running back drills, and I was like, why would they? He doesn't have a build of a running back. And then I saw him start moving, and I was like, okay, I can kind of see it. He moves really well. So all the suddenness, that you see in Christian, the way he gets in and out of his breaks, the speed that he has, the fluid ability that he has when it comes to catching the football. I mean, when it comes to contextualizing a combine workout, he did about as good as I could have expected. So I left that combine like, okay, Luke. All right, Luke, stock up. I'm buying Luke McCaffrey stock. I would have said out of the legacy picks, Luke McCaffrey, Brendan Rice, and Frank Gore Jr. I would say Luke impressed me the most. Just with his ability, with his fluidity. He's an athlete. So man, and the fact that I think he only played 1 year at wide receiver. There's something to build on there. So that'll be interesting to see. All right, I think we covered all the stuff today. We talked some draft. Let's I think we're shut it down for now, but stay locked in on the channel. We're obviously going to have a lot more content coming the second anything breaks. Of course, we're posting it to all social. I make my video for YouTube, so make sure you got post notifications on. All that good stuff. I look tired. I'm very tired. I've been tired for about 8 months. I've been tired since last year's offseason, having to argue about Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. And then that just kind of rode into the season, and then grinded through the season all the way through to the Super Bowl. After the way the Super Bowl ended, then having to switch gears to the combine. I'm tired, but I'm not complaining either. I'm not complaining at all. That's not me complaining. I am very tired, though. One of these days, I was telling my wife this. I was like, we need to go on a vacation where it's a sleepcation. We literally, I got kids and stuff. So, Me and her, we go on a vacation where the main priority is to sleep. Like, that's the number one thing. We get a sweet ass room at a sweet spot. We sleep until like 11 a.m. in the morning every day. Get solid 12 hours of sleep every day in a row. I'm like, we need a sleepcation. I need some sleep. Your boy was averaging like 3 hours of sleep every day in Indianapolis. I'm still recovering from that. Oh, but I'm out of here for now. Oh, we got one. Oh, what's good, Detail? Shout out the legend, Niners Detail. Appreciate the super chat. Offseason Brad. Hey, you know the vibes. This is where we thrive. But I will say I've been tired. We're picking it up. We're picking it up, though. We're picking it up. So we got some things cooking, all that good stuff. So appreciate it. If you guys smash that like button, it says we have about 1,900 people in the room on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Got a couple people lingering around on Instagram. But if you guys are watching on X or Instagram or Facebook, feel free to hop on over to my YouTube channel. Make sure you sub. Check out the content over there. It's different content than on the social stuff. So you want to see more lives, you want to see more of this ginger beard, you'll find all of that on YouTube. So head over to YouTube, the SF Niners, smash that sub button, smash that like button. You all know the vibes. Grab your cookies on the way out. Appreciate all you guys. Y'all the best. I'm out of here for now. Peace. All right. Now I'm out of here. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.